This presentation focuses on GCSE Chemistry, specifically AQA exam-style questions on atomic structure from the 2023 Higher Tier Chemistry paper. It will include step-by-step guidance on answers and how they align with the marking scheme. Question 1. Discoveries in chemistry led to a better understanding of atomic structure. Sub-question 1. Atoms were originally thought to be tiny spheres that could not be divided. The plum pudding model of the atom was then developed. Figure 1 represents the plum pudding model of the atom. Describe the plum pudding model of the atom. 2 marks. So the question refers to the plum pudding model. As we recall, J.J. Thomson described the atom as a uniformly distributed sphere of positive charge, with negatively charged electrons embedded within it. The positive charge was thought to be spread out evenly throughout the sphere, acting as a pudding that balanced the negatively charged Plum's electrons to make the atom neutral overall. So the answer for 2 marks will be 1. The plum pudding model suggests that the atom is a sphere of positive charge, like a pudding. And the second answers will be, within the positive sphere, there are small negatively charged electrons embedded throughout, like plums in the pudding. How to earn marks for marking scheme. 1 mark for stating that the atom consists of a sphere or ball positively charged, and 1 mark for describing the electrons embedded within the positive sphere. Subquestion 1.2. Atoms contain electrons, neutrons, and protons. Write these 3 particles in order of their discovery: earliest, next, and latest. 1 mark for the correct answer. We recall that the discovery of subatomic particles marked a turning point in the evolution of atomic theory. In 1897, J.J. Thomson identified the electron, a negatively charged particle, through his cathode ray experiments. This discovery challenged the long-held belief that atoms were indivisible. Building on this, in 1917, Ernest Rutherford uncovered the existence of the proton, a positively charged particle within the nucleus, through his groundbreaking alpha particle scattering experiments. Finally, in 1932, James Chadwick identified the neutron, an uncharged particle also located in the nucleus, which resolved the puzzle of atomic mass and stability. Together, these findings laid the foundation for the modern model of atomic structure. Based on this information, here's the correct sequence for the order of discovery of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Earliest, electrons, discovered by J.J. Thomson in 1897. Protons, discovered by Ernest Rutherford in 1917. Latest, neutrons, discovered by James Chadwick in 1932. This is how you earn full marks for this question. While the marking scheme doesn't require you to mention the scientists' names, including them is good practice. Recalling this information is beneficial, as other questions may specifically ask about the names of the scientists involved in these discoveries. So question point 3. Very few atoms of the element tennessine have ever been identified. The atomic number of tennessine is 117. Predict the number of outer shell electrons in an atom of tennessine. Give 1 reason for your answer. Use the periodic table. Number of outer shell electrons and reason 2 marks. To predict the number of outer shell electrons in tennessine, we need to look at its position in the periodic table. Tennessine is in group 7, which means it is a halogen. Elements in group 7 have 7 outer shell electrons. So the 2 answers for 2 marks are number of outer shell electrons, 7. Correct according to the marking scheme. Reason. Tennessine is in group 7 of the periodic table, so it has 7 outer shell electrons like other halogens. This is consistent with the marking scheme's requirement to identify the group. Subquestion 4. Tennessine was first identified by a small group of scientists in 2010. Suggest 1 reason why tennessine was not accepted as a new element by other scientists until 2015. 1 mark. 1 reason tennessine was not accepted as a new element until 2015 is that the discovery had to go through the peer review process. This involves other scientists independently verifying the results to ensure the data and methods used were accurate and reliable before accepting it as a new element. So the answer is, tennessine was not accepted until 2015 because other scientists needed to independently verify the discovery through the peer review process. The answer aligns with the marking scheme. And the last subquestion, 5. The discovery of isotopes explained why some relative atomic masses are not whole numbers. Element R has 2 isotopes. Table 1 shows the mass numbers and percentage abundances of the isotopes of element R. Calculate the relative atomic mass, ART, of element R. Give your answer to 1 decimal place. 3 marks. We know that isotopes have the same number of protons but different numbers of neutrons, which affects the overall mass number of an element. The question provides the values for the isotope's abundance and mass numbers. So we simply need to recall the formula for calculating the relative atomic mass. So first we write the formula to calculate relative atomic mass. Then we substitute the values for mass number and abundance, and lastly, we can input in the calculator all numbers to get the answer as it shows. This is also what the mark scheme expects you to do. You earn 1 mark for each step of the calculation. Lastly, you may have noticed that the answers are written in full sentences, while the mark scheme is presented in bullet points. I want to take a moment to emphasize the importance of writing in full sentences. Writing answers in full sentences in exams is important because full sentences provide a complete explanation, making it clear how your answer aligns with the question and the marking scheme. This reduces the chance of ambiguity or misinterpretation. Demonstrates understanding. Full sentences show that you understand the concept, not just memorized keywords. Examiners can see your ability to explain and articulate your knowledge. Avoids marks being missed. Bullet points might lack the depth or explanation required to meet the criteria in the marking scheme, especially if context or reasoning is essential for the marks. Demonstrates professionalism. Many exam boards and assessors prefer full sentences because they reflect structured and thoughtful communication, a skill valued in both academic and professional settings. By writing in full sentences, you maximize your chances of earning all possible marks and ensure your answers are clear and comprehensive.